Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Mountain Valley News North Jackson Press 2019 football preview, looking at teams and coaches from around the area. And today we are happy to have in the studio with us Coach Dusty Darnell of the Crossville Lions. Thank you for coming in, Coach.
Good to be here.
We're just going to start off kind of casual like we always do, letting our viewers get to know more about you, especially your football philosophy. Now, I would point out you're going into your second year as head coach at Crossville. And I was trying to remember last year, your first year, you know, some guys get hired late in the summer. Did you get a pretty early start or a late start with your team last year?
I was there, Coach Hawkins last year with him. He left right before spring training.
Right, you were an assistant. That's right. So you weren't coming in completely blind. Well, but still, when you take over as head coach, you want to put your stamp on the program. And having that year in, have you felt a difference going into this season?
I think the off season, the weight training, was real big for us, just getting kids to buy in what we're trying to sell.
Right.
So I thought that was a plus. We had more kids in the weight room this winter through spring. It really helped.
Right. Talk a little bit about, and this, you know, this is the most important thing when we talk about football coaches, and I've said this over and over. We've done several of these at this point. Every coach has their own, you know, approach to the ball game. Talk a little bit about your offensive philosophy as a head coach, and then your defensive philosophy.
Well, offensively, I assume line up, hit somebody in the mouth every play. I'm old school O-line, D-line guy, so. But we spread it out a little bit, but we're still going to be a downhill running attack. Counters and GTs, I'm still on somebody hitting them out there every single play. I'll soon be 3 yards in a cloud of dust. But we'll throw the ball around too, some RPO game stuff. I guess being physical, I want teams to know we're a physical team. And
you want that identity for
your
football team. On the defensive side of the ball, what do you try to do?
Defense, before I kind of grew up at high school, stayed more defense side, but just attacking. I want 11 people getting after the ball, blowing snot bubbles, and 11 people just hitting something in the mouth. That's my goal to get to be the most physical we can be, and people go, that bunch hits you in the mouth. So
we had Coach Tygard of North Jackson in taping this morning, and one of the things he says, part of his defensive mindset, he says any ball that's in the air belongs to us.
Go tack.
But I actually haven't asked this question. I'll ask you this, and of course you just said you come from more of a defensive background. How do you see the game evolving offensively at the high school level? You know, we've seen a lot of this more spread stuff in the last few years in hurry-up stuff in the college game. What do you see more of now at the high school level that you have to guard against defensively?
I think the spread high school-wise, I've seen it the last 10, 12 years. I think everybody's kind of adapted to the hurry-up, no-tempo offenses.
Right.
I think a lot of the newer coaches, the I formations and wing T, this downhill running is kind of revolving back with the triple option. Then the gap scheme stuff.
You think we'll ever see the wishbone again?
I think you're seeing it out of the spread look.
Yeah.
The shotgun.
Yeah.
Because most everybody now is running downhill, triple option out of the gun. Mm-hmm. It's a wing T philosophy. It's just, most kids nowadays know how to play in space.
Right.
They don't understand how to fish the gap. I've seen that kind of evolve in the last couple of years.
Is one of the hardest things to coach a kid discipline, as far as like gap discipline?
It is to understand why you got to control that gap on defense, you know, to understand the reason why of all of it. I think once it finally clicks in the kid, they go, now it kind of makes sense.
Everybody instinctively wants to go to the ball, but if everybody goes the way it's going, then you leave a lot of field open. And
just learning how to do your job first, then react to the ball.
That's one of the things I talked about with Coach Benefield when he was in here. You know, that's one of the things I think it's a big factor in a lot of Fife's success is the discipline with which they
Oh, yeah.
play, because when you do that, you can match up with teams that may have more speed or more athletic ability, but maybe aren't as well coached and aren't as disciplined in what they do, and you can frustrate them like that. But moving on, talk a little bit about last season. You have been in the head coaching position now for a year. What is your biggest takeaways from last season going into this year?
Last year was a learning curve from the player standpoint. Crossville's had such a revolving door of coaches, from the junior high head coach to head coach, been kind of unstable. Last year's group, I was kind of concerned how they was going to take the coaching swap.
Right.
I've been part of some with a trust issue. Kids never bought in. I thought last year mid-season, the kids, the seniors, kind of bought in what we were trying to sell. Had a few didn't want to buy in. They cut themselves on the road. But just transition from last year to this year, I think kids understand what we're trying to do and why we're trying to do it.
Right.
So.
And I guess it was kind of a learning curve for you too, stepping into the head coach's role, because there's more to manage.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference for me, being a coordinator to head coach, is just all the other things.
Right.
Coaching football is easy. It's, getting the buses lined up and make sure scoreboard's working, fields painted, this daily routine stuff you don't think about. So.
Yeah, I know I keep quoting all these other guys, but again, that makes me think. Had Miles Keith in, new coach at Ider. This is his first head coaching job, and he said coming up through the assistant ranks, through JVs and at the varsity level, he said, I was always jealous of the head coach because his phone was always blowing up. He was always getting texts and calls, and I was like, I want to be that important. I want to be the guy that everybody's calling. He said, now I wish I could throw my phone in the river.
I hate my phone. Somebody's always needing something.
Yeah, that's part of it. Let's talk about losses to graduation. Of course, that's the high school game. You don't get to recruit. You play the hand that you're dealt.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about key losses on both sides of the ball last year, and then we'll transition from that into what you saw in the spring and how you're filling those holes.
Probably the biggest shoes we have to fill coming this year is Jay Luther. I think he's a 4-year starter. I got it coached from 2 years. If you can model a football player beside one kid, it'll be the Luther kid. He was nothing fancy. He done everything asked him to do. He's a leader on and off the field. He'd be tough to replace. We lost Trent Bryant, he's an athlete, wound up playing quarterback, some receiver for us. Cam Atkins was another receiver we lost. He'd probably be the toughest skill guy to replace after Jay, just having a go-to receiver out in space. We lost several linemen that just the experience having in there, it's going to hurt. One returning, one senior has started any reps at all. He got hurt last year about week 3, and he come back late in the year, but he never started again. So I don't have a returning starting senior on this team this year.
Wow. That creates a lot of opportunity for younger guys, and are you seeing anybody take advantage of that?
Well, the junior class, there's about 24, 25 juniors, and most of them got through in the fire 2 years ago. My first year as 9th graders, we was playing. Kids had no business playing 5A football, and we had to start them, and so they've kind of grew into that role. Them learning how to be a leadership role, something that the playing ain't nothing new to them. It's the leadership part they're having to learn. So.
Let's talk about spring. Now, did you play? I'm sure you played a spring game.
We went to Valley Head and played in Ider. Ider at Valley Head. I thought our kids competed. I told them I could care less about score. I didn't care if we win or loss. I want to go out and compete.
Right.
For the 2 quarters. I thought they played hard. They got after it. I thought we got better as spring went on. I think the Heat beat both of us that day out at 5 o'clock kickoff that day.
So the overall tenor of spring practice you thought went well.
I thought we got better every day. We got kind of low the last couple of days of it. We had the leadership again, the juniors, just having nobody to step up and push the rest of them. I had to choose some tail on that. But
Now you're talking about these juniors. You're talking about you got a big junior class. That's rising seniors. They'll be seniors.
No, they'll be
juniors this year.
I think I got those.
So you've only got how many
I
seniors?
got 4 seniors.
Okay.
Only one of them's ever started a game.
That sounds like my senior year.
And so
I think we had 6, and I think there was three of us had played competitive football before our senior year. So I know what it's like.
It's a challenge. The junior class, though, the B juniors, they've been thrown in the fire.
Right.
So I'm expecting them to step up.
Now, how long has Crossville been in 5A?
I think they've been, this may be year 5 of it.
Yeah. And that's a pretty tough region. Looking down through here, we got you're gonna, of course, you open up with Geraldine. That's the Battle of Skirtum Creek. That's not a region game, but a very important game. My dad graduated from Geraldine in '59, so I've heard about the Battle of Skirtum Creek my entire life. It's kind of like the Iron Bowl of Sand Mountain. Collinsville, 3A, but good quarterback.
Oh yeah.
But then you get into your region schedule with Etowah. You got to go on the road. Talk a little bit about them, what you know about them.
Well, leading up to that, Geraldine, I keep hearing, supposed to be the best team they got since 2000.
I hear that too.
The whole bunch returning, so it's been a knockdown drag out. Collinsville, they was loaded up last year. I think they lost a few skill guys, but I know they got all their linemen back. And the Jones
got a
kid,
big line.
The Jones kid, he didn't play. He's a real deal. Etowah, I know their quarterback transferred to Gadsden City, but last year they was by far the best front seven I've ever seen. I think they had 3 kids signed D1. And
do you know how
they're
many
just a
of
whole
those
different
are
animal.
back?
I know several of them back. They lost a bunch off the defense. Thank goodness. That was a whole different league. Compare belts in that region last year, but I think they finished 10-0. So I think Clay County finally beat them in the playoffs.
Right. Okay, and then you got Douglas again on the road. I know that's probably not what you want to do is open. Yeah, actually, your first 4 games are on the road, but the first 2 of those region games, and that's got to be aggravating as a coach. But talk about Douglas. They seemed to struggle some last year, but then showed competitiveness.
They got better.
At
I know
times.
they've had a coaching change. I think as right now, the guy who took the job, he resigned last week, so they're looking for a coach right now. But you can't take them for granted. I mean, for us, we're going to have to show up and play. So I don't care who's coaching there. Douglas will come out ready to play. They'll be hungry for a win, too.
And that's late. This is really late to be changing head coaches.
Yeah.
So till you get some film on them, you have no idea what to plan for.
I don't know if they go to intern route or what.
Okay, so then you finally we're 5 weeks into the season now before you play your first home game. That's
It don't get any better.
Now I've heard Coach Ledbetter. You inherit these schedules. So is this one you?
Well, the reason's just drawn by the state.
Yeah.
But it's top heavy on the
Right.
I guess the nationals dealing with Etowah and Alexandria. Alexandria, I think everybody in DeKalb County all play them one time.
Well, talk about them. Get a little specific. What challenges? What do they do? What do you expect from them?
They're an old school football team. Coach Benfield, he'll smile ear to ear watching them guys play. They're huge up front. The last 2 years I've seen them, they usually about 260 across the front. They're going to hit you in the mouth, run win to you. And they got speed, skill guys run with it. So they're a real balanced team. I think they've had 3 head coaches in the last 50 years.
Wow.
That's what we looked last year. I thought
That's consistency.
I know Coach Ginn coached there for a long time. His son's coaching them now. So it's a great program. They've had a great run over years, and I think they won 3 or 4 state championships in football. So I look forward to playing them. I mean, if we're going to turn our program around, we might start with the best, and we got some some
Right.
good ones off that top half.
Okay, Springville, again at home, not a region game. What do you know about them?
Springville, we played them last year. They kind of jumped from 385A several years ago. I thought last year on paper we matched up pretty well with them. Things didn't go our. We're still trying to learn how to win games right now.
Right.
So things kind of snowballed on us. We was in the game for a little while last year. I think us and Springville kind of matched up pretty similar this year. They got a little more athletes. We're skilled guys, but it'll be a good game for us. Come back home with it, and that'll be our homecoming game.
Okay, then we got Boaz.
Boaz tradition. I played college ball with Coach Sullivan. He's an old school guy. He's on his group's on line. He's in the mouth.
Right.
They lost a key running back. Can't remember his name. He's a real good running back last year, but they've had a couple of kids move in. It's going to help them. So I'll bet another big challenge game for us. So I thought last year we played Boaz as good as we could play them for a half, and we just our depth kind of got us in the second half on it.
Right. Sardis, you've got experience with them. You were on staff down there for how many years?
It was 10 years.
10 years. And you're back on the road, got to travel to Sardis. What do you expect from them?
Sardis, the groups of seniors, all ninth graders, last year over there. They're a very talented group. They're school guys. They're very talented. They got some good sized linemen. Them kids, they're a bunch of blue collar kids. That group of seniors are. I know they like to work and they expect to win.
Right.
So I look forward to playing them, and that'll be our last road game, I think, of the season.
And it is, and then the south side comes into Crossville.
Southside, I don't know what. I know they lost a running back. They had a kid last year he could play. He's a lot faster in person than we thought he was. But they used their distance. They pretty big. They dropped down from 6A to 5A 2 years ago. So they kind of, talent-wise, they got the athletes compete in that region.
And then you wind up at home again with Plainview. Now that game, that was a heck of a ball game last year.
I think I aged all of us. We're trying our best to find a way to lose that game last year. That goes back to don't know how to win. I know Plainview will come in hungry, looking for revenge on that. And it's a good DeKalb County game. I know Coach Ledbetter and them over at Plainview do a good job of their stuff. And then they traditionally, Plainview gets better as the season goes. So that's one negative side of playing Plainview late.
Well, you said something there. I've not really had to talk about this. That's one of the downsides to the restructuring of the Alabama High School Athletic Association. I really miss, we used to have a DeKalb County champion. The trophy and everything, the big gold football, and you can go around to these high schools and see some of them, and I really miss the days because, we talk about 3A, 2A, 5A, but I can remember the time when all these schools were highly competitive with each other. Valley Head could line up 11 guys and beat you, just as just as quick as anybody. But I do enjoy the inter-county games like that. As we start winding down here, Coach, I always hit everybody with just a general question, and again, I would ask you. You're going into your second season as a head coach now, and of course, it's a little bit of advantage to come in like you did. You're already at the school, you know the culture, you know the kids, so there's not that get to know you phase that a new head coach has coming in, but just taking over the program, you're the guy. What has been the biggest challenge that you faced doing that, or probably an easier way to ask that is, what's the one thing that you would hand off to somebody else if you could just say, hey, take care of this while I coach football?
Just give up a role. I ain't real sure on that. I guess the biggest challenge being just getting kids to buy in and come back out and play. With the coaching turnover we've had a lot of kids that still live in our school district that packed up, went somewhere else.
Right.
Most of these kids I've had since kindergarten, the kids that's been there. So I've taught them PE. I don't know about giving up a role.
Right. Well, I've talked about that. That topic comes up with every coach now. It's how difficult is it today? Because, when I was in school, and, everybody my age was in school, and even, I remember when you were in school, there just wasn't as much stuff. There wasn't as many toys. There wasn't as many distractions, and kids today have so many other things they can do. So the idea of going out there, getting up early and sweating and grunting in August, rolling around in the wet grass and the dirt, that doesn't appeal to a lot of guys,
No.
but that's all we had to do, when I was in school, So how tough is it, competing with all those distractions these days? Is it?
I think kids are still the same. I think a lot of the parents, if Jimmy don't want to play sports, then you just sit on the couch all day. I grew up in time, if I wasn't playing something, my butt was working in the chicken house, or I had to find me something to do. So if I played sports, he gave me a chance and I have to work.
Right.
So I think a lot of, if not necessarily make kids play, but parents don't encourage it, in my opinion.
Well, that's the way it was with my generation. I knew I was going to be sweating and grunting out in the hot sun doing something one way or other.
At least you're air conditioning a little bit.
Might as well be football. So, but anyway, yeah, that's something that we hear a lot about. But anyway, listen, Coach, it's been good to have you in the studio with us today. We appreciate you coming in, and we wish you all the luck in the world this season. And that's going to do it for the Crossville Lions edition of the 2019 Mountain Valley News North Jackson Press football preview. Again, stay tuned as we talk to other coaches in the area and give you more forward look to all the action this season.
Building your dream home is one of the great joys in life. At First Southern State Bank, we know construction and mortgage financing, putting today's low rates to work for you. As you and your family move closer to the completion of your new home, we know that your home is where memories are made and families grow stronger year after year. At First Southern State Bank in Rainsville, Scott Kirk stands ready to tailor the right construction loans to meet your needs, along with our staff of experienced loan professionals. Drop by to share your dreams with us today in Rainsville. First Southern State Bank in Rainsville, all the bank you'll ever need.
Folks, this is Andy White down here at Bobby Ledbetter's Twin City in Fort Payne, Alabama. I want to invite everybody to come out to our new location. We're at 1411 Glen Boulevard, right where you turn to go on Airport Road. We've got plenty of inventory for you to choose from. I got cars, trucks, vans, sport utility vehicles of any make and model. Come down here and visit us. Let us see what we can do for you. If you got some slow credit, I've got some banks that'll take care of that. We've got great financing, got a great selection of cars. Y'all come down here and see us.
Don't take the first deal that comes along when you can do better at BobbyLedbetter.com and Twin City Used Car Sales, located at 1411 Glen Boulevard in South Fort Payne.